Hello, everyone. My name's Julia Robertson, and I'm the proprietor of Garland Therapy Centre, Garland Therapy, and Tilly is my, oh, how old is she now? 11, nearly 12-week-old puppy. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to people that have seen previous Tilly talks, and welcome to new people. Please let us know where you are from and where you are listening to us from. It'd be lovely to hear. So Kushla, please introduce yourself.
I'm Kushla Lehman. I'm also a Garland therapist, but I'm actually also a puppy school tutor, and I've been teaching puppy classes for the last 15 years. And I also run my own follow-on classes as well. So I do a lot of dog training as well. Now, I can't wait to hear. Julia, what are we going to talk about this week?
Well, we're going to try and keep it quite simple, but incredibly important. We're going to talk about walk, aren't we? And the importance of walk. And that's going to bring up lots of different sort of thoughts for people, I think. So it's going to be going for a walk, and it's not something yet we can do in the sort of grand scheme of things, because Tilly's still not fully vaccinated, but it's talking about how we introduce our puppies to exercise and activity. But the most important thing is how important walk is. So from a physical perspective, like all these things, the physical and the mental balance out, don't they? From a physical perspective, walk is a 4-time pace or 4-time gait. So each foot hits the ground independently. And for muscle development, that is incredibly important. The problem is, and why it's so important to talk about it at this stage, is that generally puppies are quite small. So when we start taking them out, what we do is we take them out, but we go at our pace. So what we're doing is training puppies not to walk, but to trot to keep up with us. And the smaller the puppy, obviously, the more likely they are to trot. Now, trot is a 2-time pace. And it doesn't have that wonderful development potential of their physicality that the walk does. So allowing your puppy to walk is so important, because at this stage, we want obviously their bones to develop. So their bones need that movement and that activity, but not too much, but also the muscles. So this is what we are talking about. And basically, I am talking about it. So walk is very, very, very important. So the 4-time gait, but also allowing them to sniff. Because from a physical perspective, when they allow their necks down to the ground and absorb all the scents around them, what's actually happening is that they are elongating through their body, but they're activating a lot of muscles within their lumbar and their pelvic region that actually need to be activated by that movement or that action. The moment they lift their heads up, they are more likely to deactivate those really important hip stabilizing muscles. So the sniffing, the head down, and the walking for muscular and then joint development is critical from a physical perspective.
And also from the mental perspective, definitely. I mean, I couldn't agree more about the walking pace. And I think people really need to be very, very aware of that. And I get a lot of people that say to me, oh, my puppy sits down all the time on the walk. And, you know, they just sit there and I can't move them and I can't tug them along. And, you know, probably because they're walking too fast. But puppies, like we've mentioned before, really need time to sit down and absorb all the information that's going on around them. And if we spend our whole time going, come on, come on, come on, and walk at our pace, then they're not getting a chance to actually just absorb all the sounds and smells and everything that's going on. So even if they're not going outside, and even if you live in a quiet village, you'll have car doors slamming, you'll have children playing, you'll have children screaming baby on trampolines in fun, sirens going past. So all of those noises, they just have to sit there and work them out. And if we don't give them the time to do that, then they just don't get a chance to process that information. So it's such an important thing. And as you say,
sorry. I was going to say, we're also giving them that potential of autonomy, aren't we? By allowing them to make up their own mind about things, but in a secure environment, it's giving them that autonomy and building their confidence.
Oh, completely. And just getting the chance to smell everything as well. And I know that Professor Daniel Mills was saying about a study that Lincoln University have done, which is fascinating, which, dogs take, we've talked about Facebook for dogs, but actually once a dog starts sniffing a scent, it takes them a whole 10 seconds to take all the information in from that scent. And if we say, come on, and move them along, and they manage to pick the scent back up, they don't start at 5 or 6 where they left it. They have to start all the way back at 1 and work their way back up through those layers of the scent.
Yeah.
And it's such an important thing to let your dogs, and that's what is a calming signal for the dogs. And, we can take our dogs out for lots of very quick walks around the village. They may physically be a little bit tired, but mentally they're still buzzing because they're like going, oh, I've got a sniff of that and a sniff of that, and I didn't quite understand all of that. And they come in and they're actually, it must be quite frustrating for them because they never get a whole story.
Very stressful. But sniffing and allowing a walk has got another very important secret addition, hasn't it? If we allow our dogs to sniff, they are going to be moving in different directions. So when we take, generally you see a dog going for a walk in a straight line, they're just going forwards. But allowing a dog, and especially a puppy, to sniff, they're moving laterally and they're moving their legs away from their body and towards their body. And what that does is it develops those wonderful stabilizing muscles, doesn't it? I mean, we talked about the slippery floors and how it can really damage those adductor muscles. But by allowing them to move in different directions, on different planes of movement, it then helps activate all those muscles that are going to support their body for all their life.
Yeah, and I think that's something we've got to be really aware of. We get puppies, we want them to be able to walk on a loose lead next to us, and we just train them to go in straight lines all the time. And it's really important that we give them those opportunities to actually put in the lateral movement. And also by putting too many rules in, first of all, your puppy's, Tilly's going to be going out for the first time next week. And I'm very excited. But, if we spend our whole time saying, no, you've got to walk next to me, you've got to walk, don't pull, you've got to walk next to me, the dogs are just going to shut down, and going for a walk is not exciting because there's too many rules in place, and I'm not allowed to smell that, and I'm not allowed to go over there, and I can't pull in front.
You're not exciting. As a person, you're not exciting.
You're scary. You're scary.
Yeah.
So we want the dogs to actually, the puppies especially, when they go out for the first time, to go, yay, I'm going outside. New thing, a bit like us turning up and going, yes, I'm going to Alton Towers. This is great fun. Well, not for me, but anyway. But, it's one of those things you want the puppies to bounce out of the front door going, this is amazing. What am I going to find today? And if there's too many rules in place, it's not fun.
Exactly. But looking back at the muscle development, the physicality, we had a very good question last week, and it's relevant now. We were talking about the hip and how detrimental slippery floors can be. And someone said, well, what about the shoulders and the front end? Exactly. The shoulders aren't quite as movable as the hip, but still exactly the same can happen as far as a slippery floors are concerned. But looking at it from a walk perspective, it's really important for those front legs to be moving sideways and towards their body to really start all those muscles being used in a very gentle but a very distinct way.
Yeah, I know a lot of people as well are going to be asking us how long should I exercise?
Oh, how long?
For?
Yeah. Over to you, Kushla.
It's a really tricky thing. There's lots of guidance out there which says 5 minutes per month of life and all of those sorts of things. But I think really the important thing with puppies is it's being on a lead, and it's taking them for long walks on a lead where they don't choose their own pace, and being forced into walking a lot faster than they would naturally and a lot further than they would choose to do. So I think really it's a key thing is what we want to introduce the pups to on lead is lots of new situations. So like when you went to the supermarket,
Yeah.
you go down a busy road where they can hear and listen to lots of sounds. And we want to use that time when they're on a lead to introduce them to lots of new experiences. But it's equally important that we teach the puppies to come back when we'd like them to. So I would really suggest getting your pups harness first is the most important thing. Put your puppies in a harness and then take them somewhere really safe and use a nice long line. I use 10-meter lines and let them loose in fields just to run around and let them loose in open areas. So, and just don't walk them, just stay still, let them explore. So they can sit when they'd like to, they can lie down when they like to, but they're safe.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I know that I've got an advantage, we got a little bit of woodland that people would have seen Tilly being filmed in. And the lovely thing about that is obviously there are no other dogs there, but the other thing is undulating, and there are branches and all sorts of obstacles for Tilly to walk over. And she's got, I mean, I have had her on a line in there, but she also has her own route that she can pick and choose. And that has been fantastic for her. She really, I've noticed, and I think this is a big thing, going back to your original question, what have I done this week, is observe her physical development and how her legs look a little bit more secure with her body now than they did a few days before. And I put that down a lot to the fact that she's going over these undulations, uphill, sideways over hills, walking over things, which, yes, I'm lucky I've got that, but we can recreate that within our enriched environment, can't we?
Completely. And I was blown away. I watched the trailer for the Tilly Talks, and I was blown away about how spatially aware Tilly is. You know, a lot of puppies and a lot of dogs would be crashing through the trees and crashing over the twigs, but she's so careful. What does she just do?
The boxes.
Crash through the box. Oh, underneath.
Oh yeah, underneath. Yeah, yeah.
But you know, on the whole, she's very aware of where she's placing each leg. And it's the confidence that she does it all with, which is just lovely to see. And that's what we want, is puppies that we've got a whole load of noisy hula hoops there, poles that are going to clatter. She steps over them. We've got, I know you put the chair there for a really good reason.
Yeah, well, the other day she hit her head just slightly, going under a bar that she has done ever since she arrived here, but she's grown. So of course she's forgotten that she'd grown. So I thought, well, we'll put a chair in, because she has to learn to go under branches. So she will, it's still a little bit high, but just so she gets that spatial awareness too.
It's so important that we teach the puppies that proprioception. And so many times, you know, people say, oh, my dog doesn't know they've got back legs. But by doing these simple little things like the enriched environment here, Tilly knows she's got back legs. And the way she picks her way through all of those obstacles shows us how much stability and how much spatial awareness and perception she actually has got on her environment, which is going to give her such a head start.
Yeah, and well, thank you, Tilly, for the demonstration of going under the chair. And the thing is, there's quite a lot of equipment for proprioception and things out there, but actually, do you know what? A load of old poles and boxes and things, and they can actually do a lot of this wonderful formative stuff, can't they?
Completely. And by using things like ladders, what you're doing is you're setting a set pattern of their stride. And that's definitely something we do not want to do with puppies, is get them in that set stride pattern. So by putting just loose poles and loose boxes all over the place, then they are picking their own stride pattern, but also we're lengthening it rather than shortening it, which is exactly what we want.
Absolutely. And there is this cause and effect thing going on, as you were saying, that things move and they make a noise. And it's these little things that we forget sometimes they haven't been experienced with. Yeah. But I think the big thing that you and I have always said, that when we take our dogs out, puppies out, it's their walk, not ours. If we want to go for a walk, that's not suitable for them, which many can or aren't suitable, then we go for a walk. But when we take our especially our puppies, but our dogs, we've got to be aware that it is their walk. And because we don't have that superpower of the nose, we do forget that. And it's such a vital part, isn't it?
Absolutely. You can take a dog out and you can run with them for miles, older dogs, of course.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're not actually getting any fulfillment from that because they're not getting the chance to actually find out about their environment. But definitely, you know, it's when you first introduce your puppies, but any dog, you've got to keep engaged with them on a walk. Otherwise, they are going to find their own entertainment. If you're not fun, they're going to go off and find the person across the field who are wearing cream colored trousers, and they're going to jump up to say hello at them, and they're going to find a rabbit. But they're going to find a deer or a rabbit or something else because you're boring. You're walking along, catching up on your mobile phone. So you've got to keep engaged with your dogs while you're on a walk. You know, keep calling them in and giving them a game, having a treat. Off you go then. But keeping engaged. So you're a fun person to be around.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can't believe it, but time's zoomed past, literally zoomed past. So, Kushla, what about next week? We had a bit of an idea, didn't we?
We did. Now, we wondered about if you've got any burning questions that you would like to ask Julia and myself, and we would answer those for you next week. So if you've got any wonderful burning questions about puppies or, you know, rescue dogs or development or anything, we'd love to hear from you. It would be great if you could get them to us by Wednesday. So, that would be good. Yeah. So we can Google the answer. I mean, so we can...
I was just going to say that.
No.
Yes. No.
It would be great if you could get the questions to us by Wednesday, just so we've got a chance to get them all together and collate them and make sure we can answer everything for you.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Hope you've gained a bit from that, and we will look forward to seeing you, well, maybe on Monday, hopefully on Monday, and then on next Friday.
Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.